It is hard to tell whether Natalie Elphicke's acceptance into the Parliamentary Labour Party owes more to Alice in Wonderland or to Monty Python. Here we have an MP who, by all the normal definitions of politics, is on the right wing of the Tory party, being embraced by Keir Starmer's parliamentary party. It was predictable and completely correct that the left would react with outrage on left-wing websites, and Elphicke's vile record has been very much well documented. In fact, she's so far on the right of the Tory party that when there were rumours of her defection among Tory MPs, they thought she was going to follow that other far-right renegade, Lee Anderson, into Reform UK. But as much as the anger of the left is justified, there is little point in joining in a competition to see who can say the most damning things about Keir Starmer. He is the worst Labour leader in the party's history, and the decision to accept Elphicke is a disgrace. All this we know. What is a more useful exercise is for us to examine what the implications of this appalling decision might be. Women Labour MPs, including many on the right of the party, are particularly concerned by Elphicke joining their number because of her past offence of her now ex-husband after his conviction. According to The Guardian, at least one woman has written to complain to the party's chief whip. It has to be borne in mind that the Parliamentary Labour Party is overwhelmingly right-wing, so it is coming to something that such MPs are complaining about Starmer's decision-making. The suggestion that Starmer may have offered Elphicke a job as a housing consultant of some kind, she's not contesting a seat in Dover as the next election, it makes it even worse. In the grander scheme of things, this farcical episode is just one more indication of a shift to the right that has been in progress for 4 years, ever since Starmer fraudulently won the leadership contest. But the trajectory and the speed of Starmer's movement to the right, even embracing right-wing Tories, will do nothing to consolidate his support where it matters in the long run, within the Labour Party and the affiliated trade union membership. On the contrary, Starmer is increasingly isolating himself within the party. The trade union and Labour organisation, which represents affiliated unions, is aghast at the latest proposals to dilute the one Labour commitment that up to now seems to have survived largely intact. By subtle changes in language and by various caveats, some of the firm promises that have been rendered meaningless. This is not the fairy tale politics of parliamentary games, somewhere up in the clouds. This is a concrete, on-the-ground policy, and these changes will directly and dramatically affect the ability of trade unions to do their jobs. Some of these key commitments watered down include banning fire and rehire, ending 0 hours contracts, which are now described as a right to switch to a contract that reflects the hours regularly worked, giving workers full rights from day one of employment, which is now also qualified and made meaningless by employers' rights to impose a probationary period of up to 2 years. In response to this, the leaders of the other 3 large affiliated unions, Unison, GMB and USDOR, have been relatively quiet, but in private, they will not be enamoured with the changes. It is not so much their own preferences and inclinations that count, but they will know that their members will not accept it if the so-called New Deal for Workers turns into a New Kneel for Workers. What does it mean for Labour in the longer term? Every new opinion poll that comes out seems to show a bigger projected majority for the party in the coming election, not because Starmer has any great public support, far from it, but because the big majority of the population are fed up to the back teeth with a rotten, corrupt and incompetent government. What the Elphicke, I'm glad I got it right then, the Elphicke farce represents is another nail in Starmer's political coffin, not short term, but certainly longer term. He has isolated himself and his immediate entourage from the broader layers of the Labour and trade union membership, and, we can now add, significant layers of the right wing in the PLP. And it will be all that much easier if and when there is a challenge to his leadership in the future. The economic policy that is coming from Labour Shadow Chancellor Rachel Reeves is so much like the policy of Tory Chancellor Jeremy Hunt that even the Financial Times described it as Hesian economics. There is every likelihood, one might even say a certainty, that the central plank of a Reeves-Starmer economic policy will be public spending cuts, and more austerity for workers in the public services. Whatever the wishes of the trade union leaderships, even those on the right wing, there is no possibility that this will be accepted into the membership. It is only a matter of time before we see an opposition to Starmer developing, firstly through the trade unions and at Labour conferences, and then in the parliamentary party itself. Natalie Elphicke's defection has moved the needle on the probability scale, making such a challenge that bit more likely sooner rather than later. Thank you for listening to this video. We hope you enjoyed it. Please do see the full article below, either in the description or in the comments section where it will be pinned. Subscribe to our newsletter and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Ding the bell for notifications, and we'll see you next time.